Millwall Saturday night.
On Millwall Saturday. Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! One in the area! And it's Martin did it! Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV for this evening's potentially season-defining encounter with Peterborough United. Cardiff riding something of a crest of a wave off the back of a win, of course, against Nottingham Forest a week ago here at Cardiff City Stadium, and also the good feelings that remain from last Sunday's Cup exploits away at Liverpool. A defeat, but in terms of a jubilant spirit, Cardiff fans and players alike having themselves a very good afternoon indeed. Let's not forget as well that as much as we'd like to, that hard-fought win away at Barnsley last Wednesday night. Cardiff back-to-back league wins for the first time since November, heading into this evening's fixture. Delighted to say, Ashley James alongside me this evening, John Donovan. And John, it's not really over egg in the pudding to say that Cardiff win tonight, it completely changes the narrative for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it does indeed. Good evening, Ash. I was reading as you know, I've got the habit of doing the local press of our visitors, and in the Peterborough local paper, they were saying about the fact that Cardiff can pull away from this mini league tonight. They recognise the fact that probably 12 points with games running out, and you know, Peterborough not winning consecutive games very often, and Cardiff maybe putting a little bit of a mini run together. If Cardiff were to win tonight, perhaps there's a sigh of relief, perhaps you can start looking up the table rather than down it, but that's easier said than done against Peterborough. We know Peterborough always give us very difficult games. We should maybe have lost there in August. Great characters come back and draw 2-2. These games always have goals in them. So whilst we can talk about the fact in 90 minutes of Cardiff have won, things are looking very rosy, there's 90 minutes of hard football to be played. Yeah, and
Cardiff, of course, looking for the first run of 3 wins on the bounce all season long, the first time since that great initial run of 11 games when Mick McCarthy first took the reins. And looking at the team sheet this evening, and I'm sure you're going to see the graphic on your screens as we talk about this, it looks like the best possible 11 that Cardiff can put out there at the moment, when you consider, you know, the caveat hanging over the injuries to Sean Morison and also to Alfie Doughty.
Yeah, and that is sad news, particularly on the part of Sean Morison, and of course we wish him well. And Alfie Doughty has had such a promising start to his Cardiff City career. Kudos to Joel Bagan, who I thought came in against Liverpool on Sunday. And Joel Bagan, how do you phrase this? We know he's a talented footballer, but there's question marks at the moment about standing up and playing men's football. I thought on Sunday he was absolutely excellent. He demanded of Steve Morison that he got the shirt for tonight, and I'm very, very pleased for him because he's a lovely lad as well, and I hope he goes on and has a very strong game tonight. I think you're absolutely right. This is probably the best 11 that Steve Morison could put out, certainly a form 11. I think Steve Morison picks based on form. I think Isaac Davis was another one who played his way into Steve Morison's thoughts, both with that cameo against Barnsley when we referenced in commentary, we thought he was excellent. And then when he came on Sunday, running off the shoulder, something that Jordan Hugill, you know, Max Waters was doing a good job there, but maybe Isaac Davis just a little bit quicker speed off the mark, perhaps a little bit more dynamic. So I'm interested in seeing those front two tonight. So yeah, I'm with you. I think in terms of what we could put out, this is our strongest 11. And
for the first time, maybe all season, you look at what's in reserve, and you look at 19 and 20 who aren't involved this evening in the aforementioned Max Waters and James Collins. And there's some depth on that bench for Cardiff, and there's some players on there with a point to prove, or with their tails up in the case of Uche Ikpeazu, who are going to be absolutely chomping at the bit to get off the bench and make a difference, and they can make a difference.
Competition for places is great, and that was the other plus point of Sunday. Yes, we lost the game, the fans were great, the atmosphere was great, but Eli King and Ollie Denham suddenly put their hands up and said, we're ready to play at this level. Maybe not every single week, but we can come in and we can do a job. So all of a sudden there's a little bit of depth there. The bench, there is impact players from the bench. Hopefully that goal on Sunday will get Ruben Colwell's tail up again and performing consistently, because he's the most probably mercurial player along with Tommy Doyle that the club have at the moment. So you're right, there's depth, there's a feel-good factor. Let's hope it continues tonight, but I say again, this is going to be, I don't think it's going to be a dull game. There's going to be goals, there's going to be some roller coaster activity in this. Hopefully Cardiff City come out on the right side of it. Changes
to the team then this evening. Doyle comes back in, so does Jordan Hugill, not to bury the lead there that we've been discussing. So it is a much changed team from Anfield at the weekend. We expected that. Steve Morison, we think, just gone back with what he considers to be his strongest 11, and this is what the manager had to say ahead of this evening's game.
It was really positive from us from all aspects. Obviously, some people never get the chance to play at Anfield. Some people are going back. Some people want to get to that level, so they now know what the level looks like. It was a great experience. The Cardiff fans were amazing, and to experience that was fantastic. All positives. Negatives were the goals we conceded. But as I said, we've moved on very, very quickly. I know it's cliche, but it is. Next the game, we've got that game, and then 48 hours later, we're going again. So, it's just the next one. We want to just continue on the positive run we've been in the league. We had 2 really good wins, and we want to follow that up at home. As I said, once we start winning games and we get on a run, we'll see where it can take us, and we can start really enjoying the work we're doing. They want to catch us, I suppose. They had a great result in the FA Cup against QPR. So that'll be positive. They drew Man City, didn't they, in the cup? I think. So they're going to be fighting for their lives. We just need to be ready, and we know what we're going to do. And hopefully we carry out our game plan better than they carry out theirs. They like to play football. They like to play out from the back, and they've got the option to go into Clark Paris if they need to. They'll most probably enjoy coming to our place because the pitch is lovely. Their pitch isn't the best at the minute, so I presume it's one that they'll be like everyone else who's come to Cardiff this year. They'll see that it's an opportunity to get at us because we haven't been that great at home. So we need to be on our mettle, and like I said right at the start, I'd love to hear that noise that they brought on Sunday from the start, and that can stifle everything. That can stifle what Peterborough bring to the table, and it can push us on to be able to perform at the level we need to perform at.
Steve Morison there talking ahead of this evening's game between Cardiff City and Peterborough United. Fair to say, John, it's Cardiff that come in with the form. There's Peterborough not won a league game in 5 games, but shows you what can happen with a little bit of a cup run, because that win over Bristol Rovers and a real good win at the weekend against Queen's Park Rangers has made this a more interesting game on paper than it might have otherwise been.
Yeah, and Steve Morison used the phrase, he expects Peterborough to come out swinging, and I do too. I think they recognise that whilst the point has merit, and of course we're only in the early stages of February, I think they really need to be winning this game. It's one of their more winnable, if you look at it from a Peterborough perspective, away games, and their away form isn't great. So I expect Peterborough to come out, use that FA Cup win at the weekend against QPR, where again their local press said they didn't play particularly well in the first half, but second half they got a goal, they showed some confidence. Wind in their sails, but it is Cardiff City with the momentum. Cardiff City have the plus points. I was interested to see, Ash, as you say, it was mid-December where they last won Peterborough against Millwall. I think they played a diamond formation that night. I was wondering whether they might tweak it again, but it still looks like the 3 centre halves and similar formations tonight. So I'm expecting a very entertaining encounter with goals in it. That being said, it'll now end 0-0, but you know what I mean.
And it's fair to say they've had an interesting transfer window. Cardiff did great work in January, really brought some impetus, fresh faces into the squad. And it was noticeable from the 2 wins in back-to-back wins against Forest and Barnsley. It gave us that injection, did it? Peterborough, by contrast, have had a really difficult month. Held on to Ollie Norburn despite whatever went on there with him wanting to return up north, but lost Siriki Dembele. They look a weaker squad than when the window opened.
I think so, and of course lots happen late to them. Dembele going and that Norman, and you feel for Norman because there is a life outside football. I understand his wife and child are still in Bolton, and that's why he was looking to go to Blackpool. So sometimes you forget that these are human beings, and there is life outside of football. But in terms of for Darren Ferguson, he needed to keep hold of Norman as captain, as leader. Dembele is a huge loss on the counter-attack. He ran us ragged in August. I'm certainly not sad not to see him here this evening. I still think Peterborough can cause problems. Is it Poku now? He's kind of like their main man creatively. Lots of people are raving about him. A youngster who still perhaps needs to develop a little bit more, bring some consistency to his game. But look out for him as the danger man tonight, playing between the lines. Someone either in the midfield or one of the three centre halves has got to take responsibility for him. But you're absolutely right. It's probably an end to the transfer window they didn't need when they're already in a relegation scrap.
The two real positives of the transfer window for them, and you look at the strength of their team this evening, and they've got legs at the wing-back position now. Bali Mumba has come in, didn't really get his chances at Sunderland, had a glimmer of games at Norwich, has come in and looked really bright at right wing-back since he's come in. Hayden Coulson, a young, vibrant wing-back on the left as well, both very short of experience. It's a squad short of experience at the Championship level. But on the flanks, that's where they could really cause part of problems.
I completely agree. They were my thoughts looking at it coming in. Coulson, he's going to suffer from a lack of match fitness. He's mainly been playing under 23 football. I think for Huddersfield, it didn't quite work out. That loan move was it to Ipswich, but he comes with rave reviews. I think you're right. I think that's their area of the pitch where they can get up and down, and it's going to be a really interesting matchup because I thought that Drama particularly was excellent at Barnsley last week. Okay, Doherty's out, so we've talked about Joel Bagan already. It's a big night for Joel Bagan. He was great on Sunday. He needs to back it up again tonight. It's going to be a really interesting battle out there in those positions.
And from a selfish point of view, and unlike you, I haven't paid as much attention to the local Peterborough press in the build-up this, and I haven't, not in the habit of watching Peterborough week in, week out. So as a layman Championship aficionado, you look at the team sheet and you see Johnson, Clark-Harris and Sammy Schmoddix on the bench, regardless of who well Poku's been playing, and that gives me hope as a Cardiff fan.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Johnson Clark-Harris wasn't it, because again, along with Dembele, he caused problems. I think Aden Flint, after the game, admitted to that fact up at London Road or whatever the stadium is in New Money these days. So I'm surprised that he's not in the team again. They've gone with a new signing up there. Maybe they're looking similar to Cardiff City for their loan signings to come in, bring energy, bring enthusiasm, and not be weighed down by what has gone before. And I think that's what Steve Morison has said about our loan signings. They come in with no baggage, and as a result, they've lifted the team. So yeah, turbulent times for Peterborough, but Darren Ferguson's sides always play football and they can score goals. They've always got a puncher's chance. So again, I'm really expecting a back and forth battle this evening.
And final question then, before we get ready for kickoff. Almost repeating what I've asked you earlier, but looking for a different angle on it. At risk of sounding like a fan, we've said before, this evening, 3 points. It completely changes the narrative of this season. You mentioned it in your build-up there. A point. It's a can't lose game this evening for Cardiff, because stasis coming out of this game this evening is absolutely fine and a real positive. A win, and the narrative shifts to, can we reel in Swansea City?
It does, and small-minded that we are, Ash. That's a big thing for me, and I know it would be for you. So, yeah, Cardiff, if they win tonight, I do think it's a slight weight off the shoulder, and you do start looking up the table. And reeling in Swansea is a big thing. And again, it's just building momentum, building a plan for next season. So, maybe you can do that a little bit with the pressure off. Yep, it's still early February. We've got to caveat everything. Lots of things can change, but 12 points is a big margin. So, for Cardiff City, stasis is fine. But if they win tonight, I almost think they're there or thereabouts for safety.
Thank you very much, John. As ever, that is it from John and myself ahead of kickoff this evening. 7:45 kickoff for Cardiff against the Posh. Thank you for joining us on pre-match. If you're going to buy a matchday pass, please do so now, and you'll be joined by myself and Connor Pearce on video commentary. If you're on audio commentary, it's Mark Denham and John Donovan himself. And before kickoff, let's hear what Aden Flint has to say ahead of the game.
Great day to be involved in, first and foremost, but
even more special being captain. I mean, didn't know, didn't expect it, so it was a nice touch, really. One I remember.
Defeat, but valiant defeat. Getting that goal at the end. It's a big occasion, and I can only imagine how good the attitude and how the mood in the camp has been today and this week. Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously we're disappointed to lose a game, but no one had expected to beat Liverpool. I mean, they're one of the best teams in Europe, if not the world. So it's no one had expected to win that. But like you said, to score a goal at Anfield, it's a fantastic achievement for Ruben. That'll do him a world of good, give him his confidence. But yeah, we matched him in the first 45. I think we had a couple of chances too, one flash across the box and maybe a potential penalty. But Liverpool showed their quality in the second half and upped it a gear. And obviously, we're disappointed with the goals that we conceded as well because they were disappointing. But it puts us in good stead now off the back of 2 league wins and going into Wednesday night. That's our bread and butter Wednesday. We've enjoyed the occasion Sunday, but it's back to business now against Peterborough. Going to be a tough game. We knew what it was like at their place earlier in the season, which was a tough scrap, and we came away thankfully with a point in the end. But it was a tough scrap, so I'm expecting more of the same on Wednesday night. And hopefully, in your case as well, 2 more goals perhaps. I'll tell you, I'm overdue a goal, I think, but at this minute in time, I'll just take 3 points. That'll do me. As you mentioned, the support was great on Sunday, and now I imagine you'll be wanting that energy from the supporters to be carrying over into this home game on Wednesday. Yeah, definitely. I mean, we need the fans to get behind us for the whole remaining games of the season, really. I'm sure they will, but it's down to us to put a performance on week in, week out, or whenever we play to help the fans get behind us. If we can do that, then it'll hopefully put us in good stead and give us confidence to keep performing well and getting the results we want. And just finally for me, obviously very unfortunate to be missing Sean Morison through injury. I'm sure that you've all gathered around him and you're wishing him all the best in his recovery now. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm absolutely gutted for Sean. He's a great guy. I've known Sean for many years, even before I came to Cardiff. Yeah, gutted for him. Yeah, like you said, the lads have really got round him because he's such a huge character in the football club and well respected. So it's disappointing for him, but knowing Mozza, he'll work hard to come back, and we'll see him again, definitely.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Flat trajectory on that throw, which has caused a few problems. Here's a chance for Vukic, and they've scored again. 3 goals in 6 minutes for Cardiff City have put them very much in charge. Throw that caused all the problems. How often have we seen that in recent times? Bounced around Harris Vukic. Big side footing.
evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV. Coleman, he'll shoot and he'll score! One in the air! And it's not within it! Good evening, welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV, with myself, Ashley James, and Conor Pearce, live on commentary here this evening for the Bluebirds' home encounter with lowly Peterborough United, as Cardiff look for a third consecutive championship win for the first time in the entirety of the 21-22 season. Of course, afforded that opportunity off the back of those wins against Nottingham Forest and Barnsley last week. A defeat, yet one kept in good spirits away at Anfield at the weekend, heading in to this evening's clash with Darren Ferguson's men, and a team who occupy the final relegation spot in the championship table. No championship wins in 5 for them, dating back to a December victory over Millwall, who Cardiff will travel to at the weekend, and an opportunity tonight to put 12 points between themselves and the drop zone, and perhaps build what could prove to be an insurmountable lead as they look to cement their position in the championship for next season, which disappointingly, as we all know, frustratingly, pick your adjective around this place, has looked dubious at best in recent months. But a changing of the tide, fresh impetus from some new arrivals in January, and hopefully, following this evening's game, Cardiff finally able to start looking up in the table rather than anxiously over their shoulder. Good evening, Conor Pearce. You've returned in one piece from your exploits to Liverpool at the weekend. A great occasion for Cardiff, and ultimately one that didn't sully the good feeling that had been built up around the club after those 2 fine league wins leading into it.
Indeed, evening everyone. A great day out it was at Anfield. I'm sure that 7,000 travelling Cardiff City fans will say the same. Despite the result going in the favour of the Premier League side, I think everyone will agree that the Bluebirds put in a really impressive performance, particularly in that first half, and especially to get that goal in the second half. Ruben Colwell's strike, a great moment for him, a great moment for everyone involved with the club, and especially those fans behind the goal.
Yeah, it was indeed. It was an occasion where Steve Morison felt it necessary and capable to reshuffle his pack a little, but he's gone strong this evening as we welcome the two teams down beneath us for this huge crunch game here at the Cardiff City Stadium. The two teams being led out by captains Joe Rolls and Oliver Norburn, and a real opportunity for Cardiff to change the narrative for the rest of this campaign.
What a huge match we have in store this evening. Two sides, Peterborough especially, who need the points, and you think at this stage of the season it is these games that you earmark as being those proverbial 6-pointers, and this really is one, particularly for the visitors and their boss Darren Ferguson, whose 50th birthday it is today, I believe, Ash.
Better research than I've managed. There we go. Cardiff do make changes. Only 3 players actually retained from the cup defeat at Liverpool, which puts in perspective just what a good performance that was from the young team. They all come in the back line. Joel Bacon keeps his place at left back. Perry and G and Aden Flint as well in the back line. And G revert into the centre half position. There's recalls for a midfield 3 of Ryan Wintle, Tommy Doyle and Robles, who performed so well together in those back-to-back championship wins a week ago. And of course, scoring debutant hero Jordan Hugill from that Forest game is back in the starting lineup alongside young Isaac Davis. There's a place on the bench for both Ruben Caldwell, the scorer at Anfield, for young Oliver Denham, who was so impressive on his first start for the club, and also for Uche Ikpeazu, who made such a good first impression in a Cardiff shirt a week ago at Hopewell. Kevin Friend, the man in the middle this evening, demoted from the Premier League for a game. His punishment is to have to referee Cardiff City, and that's your Peterborough United team. 2 January signings in the wing-back position, and they're going to be so important. Young legs in Ballymumba and Hayden Coulson on loan from Norwich and Middlesbrough, respectively. No Johnson Clark-Harris, though. It's Jack Marriott who leads the line up top instead. Joe Rolls, Aden Flint and Jordan Hugill, the experienced spine of this team this evening for Cardiff City. You throw, of course, the ultra-experienced Alex Spitties into the mix as well.